October 2018. It marked the end of 22 years of me being a Jehovah's Witness when I wrote a letter of disassociation and gave it to the elders at the congregation I was in at the time. It wasn't a rash decision because I had spent about 4 or so years being a PMO, meaning physically in, mentally out. So I was just going along with things because I hadn't yet mustered up the courage to just leave. Whilst I wasn't born and raised as one of Jehovah's Witnesses, I was recruited at a very early age. I was only 14 and I was still developing, still learning, and obviously that made a huge impact on my brain development and my nervous system. I'm not saying it was all bad. I was already coming out of a traumatic period of my life. I had lost my father aged 10. I experienced the collapse of Soviet Union when I was 10 as well. And the new free Latvia wasn't the fairy tale story because the economic hardships affected pretty much everyone, and especially a single parent family. It is something that probably set me up to be more receptive to the message Jehovah's Witnesses were giving at the time. After leaving Jehovah's Witnesses, I spent a while just simply detoxing. I wanted to know nothing about any kind of religion, any kind of biblical narrative, and I started keeping a journal or a diary, simply writing about my experiences to process them, to understand what had happened, what the dynamics were, what kind of life I was having, because ultimately, when I left Jehovah's Witnesses, I felt very lost because even though I had not been born and raised as a Jehovah's Witness, having a very long time as a Jehovah's Witness in my formative younger years, it kind of stopped me being able to integrate into society, at least straight away. The indoctrination by Jehovah's Witnesses leaves people very vulnerable because Jehovah's Witnesses are kept very naive. They're told that, obviously that you can't lie, you have to trust everyone, everyone's brother and sister, and you treat everyone as family. And unfortunately, that just doesn't work. You end up being caught in dynamics that are not exactly healthy when you leave if you don't take the time to deconstruct and to maybe go to therapy. All those things I've done. Yes, the badge of honor. Lots and lots of therapy. But what I wanted to say is that this journaling and diary eventually turned into something I felt I wanted to share with the wider audiences. And that is not just from the perspective of, oh, look, I was a Jehovah's Witness. This is what they teach. This is what they do. This is how they act. But also from the perspective of how I became a Jehovah's Witness, why I was vulnerable to their message. Also, what it's like being an immigrant, because at 18, I moved over from Latvia to UK. And anybody who's ever moved countries to live elsewhere will know that it is a type of trauma. Just because a country that you move to might be better economically, it doesn't mean it's not going to have an impact. Also, the experiences whilst I was Jehovah's Witness, obviously a lot of things scarred me. The no blood doctrine, well, it nearly left me for dead and my children without a mother, but thankfully I'm still here. Very lucky. And also, after leaving Jehovah's Witnesses, I was not prepared for what was waiting for me. It would be nice when if you think of leaving just being simple, very, very cut and dry, and you're out, you're doing great, you reintegrating into normal society, a newsflash, it doesn't always work. And it can leave us a little bit susceptible to unhealthy things and to being vulnerable, even just mentally and emotionally, trying to adapt to changes, trying to learn different ways of living, and also how to navigate relationships with people, because Jehovah's Witnesses are very like kept in the dark. We're all been there. We know what we're on about because we trust people without them having to earn any trust, because we were told that everyone's brother and sister. So, you just take everyone at their word. And finally, not long ago, I came to a point where I was like, yeah, this is now ready. This is now ready for sharing. The lessons I've learned before, during, and after, they are invaluable. At least for someone somewhere will benefit from it. And I wish I'd have known all this. So I've wrote it for my younger self. Yeah, I wrote it for my 14-year-old self. This is my reclamation, my tribute to that young girl who just took the word of Jehovah's Witnesses as the truth, and then the rest just unraveled. Now, I'm finishing off some of the editing, and I chose to self-publish because I want to keep the authorship. I want to present it as authentically as possible. I do not want to be micromanaged again. I do not want to be told what I can and can't say. Obviously, it is legally safe. It's protecting privacy, and the things that I talk about, I've presented in a very neutral way. This is my own perspective, my lived life. So I'm not blaming anyone. It's not about attacking individuals, it's about what I've learned, what I experienced, and maybe some of the pearls of wisdom I can pass on. And somebody somewhere can actually benefit from it. It's coming out of end of March this year. I've set a deadline, and it's going to happen because I'm making it happen. I will not be silenced anymore, and it's my literally baby. It's my creative baby, and it's ready to be born at the end of March. So keep your eyes out, because I will be making more videos about it, and also I'm really excited. So until next time, I will speak to you soon.